This will be a short video, just a real quick introduction and summary of all of the microbes that we would be studying throughout this course. The first category is bacteria and what is called archaea, which is sort of if you want to talk about green algae-like organisms, bacteria are obviously the ones predominantly we cover. So these little fimbriae with the flagella, both are called prokaryotic, which means they do not have a nucleus. They're very simple. They have an entire domain named after them. So that's the prominent one we'll be talking about. Fungi, the fungus among us. Those had to do with, yes, mushrooms and mold. Yeast and mold and mushrooms. Fungus have all different species. Most are not pathogenic to human beings. They differ as far as there's different categories of them, but you're talking about yeast, mold, mushrooms, which is what you saw there. Mushrooms are the result of mold in the ground coming together, and this is the part that would actually come up through the ground. Protozoa, little single-celled organisms. There's one there. I'm sure some of you have heard of amoebic dysentery. There's one called Giardia, which causes giardiasis. But little single-celled organisms are found in water, places like that. And some live inside an animal host. We do talk about those as well. Algae, unicellular and multicellular photosynthetic. Really do not talk about this in our course, but everybody knows that algae. You've seen the green growing in lakes, or if you have a pool, if you don't have chlorine or something in your pool, you get algae. So everybody's seen that. Helminths, which are worms. We'll talk a little bit about these. And there's a nice nematode right there. Worms are a problem for human beings. We have a white blood cell called an eosinophil, which its main function is to attack parasitic worm infections. They do increase in times of allergy attacks maybe, but helminths, worms are on the ground. The first inch of topsoil has millions of nematode eggs. So we'll talk about those as well. And then this is the classification system. Now, obviously, you're going to have to pick the correct one out. This is domain, which is 3 of those. Kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, species. Cool name. This is called the Linnaeus scheme. Carolus Linnaeus. Prior to this person, basically, you were either a plant or an animal, which I'm actually good with that. I like simplicity. But this is his classification system. In other words, if you find an organism, you have to figure out what domain is it going to go under, what kingdom, like for instance, human beings, we're under the kingdom Animalia, and we really deal with the genus species in our course, but that's his classification system, and you have to find what category an organism would fit under each one of those. Now, how to write scientific names. Genus, species. Now you capitalize the genus name and then you lowercase species, or you can do it in italics. Now if you're actually writing something, which in the case of our course you'll not be writing anything handwritten, of course, but that's the correct way to pronounce or correct way to note the genus species. And you saw at the end, you're talking about the very end of the classification system. Human beings, we are Homo sapiens. Homo is the genus. Species, sapiens, species. But that's the correct way to write it. If you're turning it in on a computer, yes, you can do it in italics like this, or you underline, 2 separate underlines. Capitalized genus, lowercase aureus. And these are terms like that's the 3 domains: bacteria, archaea, eukarya. We of course, human beings, we are under the category of eukarya. Okay, these are terms, I think you can read these on your own, And that's the end of our section here. But I want to point out one thing about pasteurization. That was Louis Pasteur. That's heating liquids to prevent spoilage and also to kill pathogenic microbes. Milk that has been pasteurized is heated, and it would spoil a lot quicker if it wasn't that way. And immunity, we'll actually talk about all these terms later. So I hope this helped. Thanks for joining me.